They laughed when he pulled a shopping cart full of trash behind the shelter, called him crazy for choosing dumpster scraps over the donated REI sleeping bag. 4 winters later, he's the only one who never got frostbite, and the expensive gear is in the trash. October 2020. Outside a Minneapolis shelter, a man named Marcus arrives with a shopping cart full of what everyone else calls garbage. Inside the shelter, volunteers are handing out brand new REI winter survival kits, $500 worth of gear per person, sleeping bags rated to -20 degrees, insulated foam pads, waterproof stuff sacks. Other homeless people line up to take the donations. Marcus walks past the line, heads to the dumpster behind the CVS across the street, and starts pulling out cardboard, styrofoam, and plastic bags. His peers watch from the shelter entrance and mock him. "You're gonna freeze with that trash, man." Marcus says nothing. He just keeps building. Marcus's dumpster haul contains 10 specific items: waxed cardboard from produce boxes, mylar emergency blankets pulled from discarded first aid kits, plastic sheeting from construction site trash, styrofoam cooler pieces someone threw away, 5-gallon buckets that once held restaurant pickles, wooden pallets from behind the hardware store, stacks of newspaper from the recycling bin, plastic bottles, heavy-duty trash bags, and the shopping cart frame itself. Total cost $0. Compare that to the REI survival kit sitting inside the shelter, $500. Brand new. Still in packaging. Designed by outdoor experts. Tested in labs. Recommended by survival instructors. Marcus chose trash instead. December 2020. The first major blizzard hits Minneapolis. Temperature drops to -18 degrees Fahrenheit. Wind chill makes it feel like -30. Marcus has been working on his setup for 6 weeks. Pallet base elevates him 8 inches off the frozen concrete. Cardboard layers create insulation between his body and the ground. Plastic tarp stretched overhead keeps snow and rain out. Mylar blankets line the interior walls, reflecting his body heat back at him. The people who took the REI gear set up their tents in the same area. High-tech fabric, aluminum poles, waterproof rain flies, ventilation systems designed to prevent condensation. By midnight, those tents are failing. Condensation from body heat collects on the interior walls and freezes. The sleeping bags, rated for -20 degrees, are soaked through. Zippers freeze solid. People can't open their tents from the inside. One by one, they abandon their setups and rush to the shelter, begging to get inside. Marcus stays outside in his trash pile. An outreach worker checks on him at 2 in the morning, expecting to find him hypothermic. Instead, Marcus is sitting upright, eating crackers, barely shivering. "How are you not freezing?" the worker asks. Marcus looks up. "I'm warmer than I was inside yesterday." The worker pulls out a thermometer. Temperature inside Marcus's shelter, 42 degrees Fahrenheit. Temperature inside the abandoned REI tent 20 feet away, 19 degrees. Marcus's system works better because each material does exactly one job perfectly. Cardboard stops heat transfer from the ground. Concrete pulls body heat away 30 times faster than air. Sleep directly on pavement and you'll wake up hypothermic even if the air temperature is 50 degrees. The waxed cardboard creates a barrier. Heat stays in your body instead of bleeding into the earth. Mylar blankets reflect 90% of body heat back toward the source. Your own warmth becomes your heating system. Plastic sheeting creates a vapor barrier that prevents moisture buildup. Humidity is the killer in cold weather. Wet equals cold equals death. The plastic keeps everything dry. Styrofoam provides insulation that doesn't absorb water. Foam pads from camping stores soak up moisture and lose their insulating properties. Styrofoam stays effective regardless of conditions. Pallets elevate the body off frozen ground. That 8-inch gap of air is the difference between surviving and freezing. The layering system works because failure is distributed. One piece of cardboard gets wet, the other 5 layers still work. The REI gear fails because it's integrated. The sleeping bag is one unit. It gets wet, the entire system stops working. The tent is one structure. A zipper breaks, the whole thing is compromised. Foam pad punctures. You're sleeping on concrete. All the REI gear was designed for weekend camping trips with a car parked nearby and a house to return to on Sunday. Marcus's system was designed for indefinite deployment with no backup plan and no resupply option. Winter 2021 to 2022. Word spreads through the homeless community. 5 other people approach Marcus and ask him to teach them his system. He agrees. Shows them which dumpsters have the best materials. Loading docks versus residential bins. What time stores throw out usable items. How to test if cardboard is waxed or regular. How to layer plastic and mylar for maximum heat retention. How to angle tarp so rain sheds off without pooling. They build their own systems from scratch. Cost per person, still $0. Meanwhile, new donated REI kits arrive at the shelter. $800 worth of upgraded gear per person. Even better, sleeping bags. Improved tent designs. The 5 people Marcus taught refused the donations. They choose dumpster materials instead. The shelter staff thinks they're insane. By March 2022, the results are undeniable. Marcus's group of 6 people, 0 cases of frostbite, 0 hypothermia incidents, 0 emergency room visits. The people using REI gear, 3 frostbite cases requiring medical treatment, 2 hospitalizations for severe hypothermia, 1 amputation of 3 toes. The shelter director notices the pattern and brings in an outdoor survival expert to investigate, a man with certifications from 3 different wilderness programs. He examines Marcus's shelter, takes measurements, checks the materials. His conclusion, delivered with visible confusion. This shouldn't work according to everything we teach in survival courses. But it does work. 4 months of winter, 6 people, 0 failures. Marcus knows things the certified experts don't. Redundancy beats quality every single time. 10 cardboard sheets versus one $60 sleeping pad. The cardboard gets wet, you throw it away and grab another piece from the dumpster. The sleeping pad gets punctured on a sharp rock, and you're done. No replacement, no backup. You're sleeping on frozen concrete. Replaceability beats durability. A $200 tent gets stolen, and you're homeless and broke. A tarp gets stolen, and you walk to the next construction site dumpster and grab another one. Invisibility beats visibility. $500 worth of REI gear makes you a target. Other homeless people will steal it. Opportunistic thieves will take it. Police will confiscate it during sweeps. A pile of trash, and nobody looks twice. It's camouflage. Modularity beats fixed function. A 5-gallon bucket is simultaneously a storage container, a seat, a washing station, a step stool, an elevated platform, and a rain collector. Camping gear does one thing. A sleeping bag keeps you warm. That's it. Real-world testing beats lab testing. Marcus's gear has failed and been replaced 50 times over 2 winters. He knows exactly how each material behaves in wet conditions, frozen conditions, wind, and temperature swings. REI gear gets tested in controlled labs and used on weekend camping trips. When it fails in real survival conditions, there's no institutional knowledge to fix it. The expertise gap is massive. An outdoor survival instructor has 200 hours of training and weekend certifications. Marcus has 1,400 nights of actual survival with real consequences for failure. One teaches theory, one lives reality. Winter 2022 to 2023. A local news reporter hears about Marcus and wants to film the homeless man with the trash shelter. Marcus agrees to be interviewed on one condition. You have to film the REI people too. Show both systems. The news segment airs in January 2023. It shows Marcus's shelter during a night when the temperature hits negative 12 degrees. The camera goes inside. It's dry, organized, clothes hanging from a line strung between support posts. A thermometer reads 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Marcus is sitting cross-legged, eating ramen from a plastic container, wearing just 2 layers of clothing. 20 feet away, the camera crew films inside an REI tent. The person inside is shivering violently, wearing 4 layers plus the sleeping bag. Condensation is dripping from the tent ceiling onto the sleeping bag. The bag is soaked. The thermometer reads 21 degrees. The footage is undeniable. The segment goes viral. 2.3 million views in 4 days. The comment section splits into 2 camps. Outdoor enthusiasts insist the comparison is misleading and that REI gear works fine when used correctly. Formerly homeless people flood the comments, saying Marcus is right and they've known this for years. REI releases a public statement. Our products are designed for recreational use in controlled environments with proper planning and backup resources. Translation: the gear isn't designed for people who actually need it to survive. Marcus's response in a follow-up interview is 3 sentences. I know, that's the problem. You're selling survival gear to people who don't need to survive. By spring 2023, Marcus has taught 34 people his system, 0 frostbite cases in his group. Shelters start asking him to lead workshops and teach their staff his methods. He refuses every offer. I'm not doing your job for free. You want to help people survive? Stop giving them gear that doesn't work. Winter 2023 to 2024. The ultimate test arrives. A polar vortex hits Minneapolis in January. Sustained temperatures between -25 and -35 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 solid weeks. Wind chill pushes it to -50. The city's shelter system has 200 beds. The homeless population is 847 people. 647 people have nowhere to go. Marcus's group now numbers 34 people, all using trash-based shelter systems. 89 people are using donated REI gear from various organizations. Everyone else is improvising with whatever they can find. 2 weeks of brutal, unrelenting cold. The kind of cold that kills exposed skin in under 5 minutes. The kind of cold where your breath freezes in your lungs. By the end of week 2, the results are documented by street outreach teams. Marcus's group of 34 people, 34 survivors, 0 hospitalizations, 0 frostbite, 0 cold-related injuries. The REI gear group of 89 people, 81 survivors, 8 hospitalizations for frostbite and hypothermia, 6 amputations. The other groups, 412 survivors, 23 hospitalizations, 2 deaths from exposure. Medical staff at Hennepin County Medical Center noticed the pattern immediately. The people sleeping in trash shelters have better health outcomes than the people with expensive donated gear. One emergency room doctor pulls Marcus aside during a routine checkup and asks him to explain how his shelter works. Marcus walks him through the system. The doctor takes notes. A thermometer reading from Marcus's shelter during the coldest night of the vortex, when the outside temperature hit negative 35 degrees, interior temperature of 31 degrees. A thermometer reading from an REI tent during that same night, interior temperature of 3 degrees. The mockery was never really about the gear. It was about identity and what the gear represented. The REI sleeping bag wasn't just a sleeping bag. It was a symbol. It represented connection to normal society. It was a gift from people who cared. It signaled that someone out there thought you deserved quality equipment. It carried hope that you'd get housed soon and eventually use that gear for actual camping trips like regular people do. The trash pile represented the opposite. It was acceptance of permanent homelessness. It was rejection of charity and help. It was embracing the bottom. It was admission that this is your life now, not a temporary situation. Marcus understood something the others didn't, and he said it out loud once. I'd rather survive than belong. The donated REI gear was hope wrapped in nylon. Marcus's trash pile was reality wrapped in plastic. One keeps you warm emotionally, one keeps you warm physically. You can't sleep inside hope when it's negative 20 outside. By year 4, the people who mocked Marcus finally understood. Half of them switched to his system, built their own trash shelters, learned which dumpsters to hit. The other half kept their REI gear and froze with their dignity intact. They chose belonging over survival. Some of them died making that choice. Here's what outdoor companies don't want you to know. Survival gear is marketed to people who don't actually need to survive. The real price per survival night calculation exposes the lie. A $5 minus $100 REI winter kit divided by 14 nights before catastrophic failure equals $35.71 per night. A $0 trash system divided by 120 nights per winter multiplied by 4 winters equals $0 per night forever. The features you pay hundreds of dollars for actively hurt long-term survival. Proprietary zippers break in extreme cold and can't be field repaired without special tools. Specialty fabrics puncture easily and can't be replaced with materials you find. Integrated systems mean one component failure causes total system failure. Lightweight materials trade durability for portability, which matters for weekend backpackers but kills long-term survivors. What actually works in real survival scenarios? Replaceable components you can find in any dumpster, redundant systems where failure of one part doesn't compromise the whole, 0 moving parts that can break or freeze, materials that fail gracefully where torn cardboard still provides half its insulation value, and 0 dependency on supply chains or stores or manufacturers. Marcus's system is anti-fragile. Stress makes it stronger because he learns from each failure and adjusts. REI's system is fragile, pretending to be robust. It works perfectly in ideal conditions, and fails catastrophically when conditions exceed design parameters. The uncomfortable truth that no one wants to say out loud. A $500 sleeping bag keeps you alive in conditions where you'd probably survive anyway. A $0 cardboard system keeps you alive in conditions where you'd definitely die otherwise. Marcus still sleeps outside, still uses his trash system, still gets mocked by newcomers to the homeless community who haven't learned yet. The shopping cart that started everything is still there. Bent frame, rusted wheels, covered in duct tape and wire repairs. That cart has outlasted 4 REI tents, 6 sleeping bags rated for extreme cold, and 12 foam sleeping pads. The people who mocked him 4 years ago, some apologized, some never did, some died from exposure, some got housed and moved on. Marcus is still there. He's been offered indoor space by shelters. He's been offered paid jobs teaching survival skills to outreach organizations. He's been offered money by a documentary filmmaker who wants to license his intellectual property for a survival training program. He turned down every single offer because he understands something that the people making those offers don't. The moment his trash system becomes a product, it stops being accessible to the people who need it most. The genius of trash is that it's free. It's in every dumpster. It's available to everyone, regardless of income. The moment you package it, brand it, and charge money for it, it becomes just another thing homeless people can't afford. Marcus won't let that happen. So he stays outside, teaching anyone who asks, taking nothing in return except the knowledge that someone else might survive because of what he shared. What does it say about our society that the best cold weather survival system is the one we throw away? And what does it say about us that we mock the man who figured that out?